What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Vanity V. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, a wonderful Wednesday, all of the things, you guys. So, the interview dropped with Jeezy and Nia Long. And let me just say this, y'all. I was a little bit skeptical of like, okay, how is this interview gonna go? You know, we haven't really, or I haven't seen either of them in this capacity of interviewer, interviewee. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know what to expect. And I will say I am a huge Nia Long fan. I love her. I think she's like every black woman's like sister. We love her. And obviously men love her because she's gorgeous. Jeezy's cool. My friends are Jeezy fanatics. I know he's a great artist. I like him, but you know, he's just not, I'm not like as familiar with his music as I am Nas, Jay-Z, whatever. And so, you know, recently he's been thrust in the spotlight with his, impending divorce with Jeannie Mai, or Jeannie Mai. Please excuse me if I have pronounced her name wrong. But, you know, again, I just didn't know what to expect from this interview, y'all. And let me tell you, I am pleasantly surprised. I loved this interview. I loved everything about it. I loved the chemistry between the two. They kept referring to each other as brother and sister, but they actually look really, really cute. You know, they had a good chemistry. I loved the questions they asked, the comfortability that was there with them. And I love this interview. I am now more endeared to Jeezy after this. I love his vulnerability. And I love that Nia is a whole gangster out here, y'all. Like, she is everything that we would hope that our, you know, beloved actresses would be. Beautiful, smart, don't take no mess, you know, sister girl, very down to earth. And so this interview was just kind of just solidified what I already thought about Nia Long. So again, like I said, I loved it. And I want to say this was a different interview where, you know, primarily Nia was asking the questions and she allowed Jeezy to talk. But it was cool because they were both, you know, bantering back and forth. There were moments where, you know, Nia would say something that would like spark his interest and he would piggyback off and ask her questions. They kind of interviewed each other. You know what I'm saying? But again, this was, I believe, there is a whole situation where a lot of times black men don't feel comfortable being vulnerable with women, more specifically black women. And I really feel like Jeezy wanted to make it be known, show the world that you can be very masculine, hard, whatever you want to call it, but still be vulnerable. And I love that Nia Long allowed him to do that. So that's what I really loved about the interview and just kind of getting to know them better. Okay, so let's get into the interview. The interview starts, you know, they're kind of talking and we talk about Jeezy's life. Now, again, you guys may be more familiar with him than I am. However, I didn't know he had such a rough life. I knew he was a drug dealer in his past. He talks about it in his music adamantly. So obviously, I'm familiar with a lot of his songs, not his whole catalog, but I've heard, you know, him talking about the things that he went through in the trap and everything in Atlanta. So I did know that. However, I did not know the trauma that he went through in his life with his family. He talked about the fact that his mom, he did not have a relationship with her. She was really hard on him, kind of mean. She was the one person that could really check him. And he also said that his mother's family was like out of control, which I can relate to because I feel like as black people, unfortunately, we always have, some people it's their mom's and their dad's side of the family, right? Some people it's just their mom's side of the family. For me, both sides of my family were out of control. But he was saying that his mom's side of his family, they just were like, you know, they were crazy, off the beaten path, you know what I'm saying? He said that his dad's family was a little more mild, but he did not really have a relationship with his dad. He kind of mentioned that he was a little bit closer with his grandmother. And he said that he's never felt like he's experienced real love, even to this day. And if he did get any type of feeling close to that, it would have been from his grandmother. So that is interesting because Jeezy, I believe he said he's 46 or 47. I forget which one. But imagine being 46 and feeling like, and being married. Being married, I'm sure he doesn't, I'm going to assume that he's not speaking about his children. I would hope that, I know he has an older son and I think daughter, that he has felt real love from them. But I'm assuming he's talking about romantically in his friendships and, you know, from his caretakers. He has said vehemently that he has not really experienced real love, which makes me sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine being 46, 47 and just feeling like nobody in your life protected you, loved you, anything. And so I think that molded him. We all know that the things that we go through as children directly affect our relationships in our adulthood, the way we interact with people in our adulthood. So he even said, this is why I was in the street. I was looking for love in the street. And he even said, I got more love in the street out here being a knucklehead and getting into trouble, dealing drugs, all of that, than I did from my family, which is really, really sad. He also mentioned, which was gut-wrenching, and it was hard for him to say it, and that Nia Long kind of stepped in and was like, he mentioned that he was molested. He didn't say the word, and Nia said it, and he was like, you know, there was a woman. He said he started having sex really early, and he was into sex way too early, which I think happens for a lot of men, women too, but specifically men. He was exposed to it because there was a woman in his life that used to watch him that abused him. And I just want to talk about this for a minute, because we always hear about how women, we know the statistics, right? It's like 1 in 3 women have been, you know, abused, sexually abused at some point in their life. I believe it's probably half of women, because obviously these are only the women that are coming out and talking about it, right? But we never really talk about men suffering from sexual abuse. And it's sad because I think it happens a lot more than, not even I think, I know it happens more. And I feel like it's kind of a taboo subject. So I want to commend him for actually talking about this, because we look at Jeezy like tough, rough around the edges. But I think it's important that we've seen other men in the limelight that have talked about this, right? But I think it's important for men like him to set the stage, to be able to talk about this. And hopefully that will encourage other men to follow suit and also do it, because the stigma is terrible, and it makes me really, really sad that he has suffered through this. So, you know, he just has gone through so much tragedy in his life. And that's why I love interviews like this, because I'm a person that believes that, you know, obstacles and going through things builds character. I really believe that. It's unfortunate, you know, not to say that you have to go through something traumatic in your life to be of good character, have integrity, and all of that. However, I do think that some of the toughest people in life, for obvious reasons, have been through very traumatic situations. And so to hear his backstory, I'm not surprised by some of the things that he went through and some of the feelings that he has as being hardened today. You know what I mean? So that was very, very interesting. And, you know, I don't know him, but I'm proud that he was able to share that with us, because I feel like it's important, and hopefully, again, it will open up more conversation and dialogue for men to be forthcoming about what they've been through so that they can heal properly. All right, so then, you know, we kind of talk about Nia Long. You know, she kind of talks about, she grew up in South Central. You know, she's kind of telling her story. She says she used to date nothing but drug dealers, which when you hear her talk about it, I'm actually not surprised. She's a roundaway girl. Nia Long is the girl who, like, I feel like if I met her, she would just embrace me and be loving and have some really dope, you know, encouraging words for me and go about her business and I go about my business. You know, that's the type of girl that Nia Long gives me. But she talks about, you know, her issues a little bit in dating, and then she also talks about her vulnerabilities with her sons. I thought it was cute, you know. Jeezy had said that, you know, when he used to get into fights and stuff in the hood, you know, and my mom was kind of the same. It's like, look, you better, if she whoops you, you gonna go back and fight her every time until you win the fight. And Nia was like, yep, that's what I do with my sons. You know what I'm saying? She was like, that's exactly, I'm the same type of mom. So I thought that that was cute. But she definitely was like, you know, I can take a lot. And she's been in the public eye the last year too with what she's going through with her partner who was the head coach of the Celtics. I forget his name. But she was just like, you know, I can go through a lot, and I've been through a lot, and I'm tough, but I draw the line, leave my kids alone. And that's, you know, we all feel like that. Like, my kids are off limits. So she just talks about her relationship with her sons and how, you know, she said something very interesting. And she said that, you know, I'm a woman and I'm teaching them to be men, but I also, you know, I don't want them to be, you know, punks. I want them to stand up for themselves. I want them to be, you know, assertive and all of this stuff. And so, you know, that's, I think, and I don't have a son, I have a daughter, but I think that that is probably something that resonates with Black women who have sons. Specifically, if you're a single mom, I imagine that it's hard to teach a man how to be a man, you know. And so, you know, she kind of talks about her struggles with that, you know, and how she's dealt with that, you know, etc. They both say, Jeezy says something that I thought was really, really interesting. He said that I'm excited about this dialogue because it's going to allow for the world to see conversations between Black women and black men. We need each other. And it's true. I think that in society today, there is so much contention between Black men and Black men, gender roles. You know, we see skits and stuff online with women saying, oh, you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory, or men saying, well, I won't date you because of this. And, you know, it's just so much bumping of heads. And I think that their primary purpose of this seemed like it was a therapy session for both of them. But I also think that the primary purpose of this interview was for us to see that we need each other, we can support each other, and we need to allow each other to be vulnerable. Because both of them at points in this interview said several times, like, I don't think I've ever said this to anybody, or I don't think I've ever felt this comfortable to say this. And so, and that's why I said they have like such a cute dynamic, and that the chemistry between them is really, really good. So I'm curious. I think I'm gonna do some research into their friendships, because I'm wondering if, you know, they're just cool with each other, or if they're like really, really cool. And I'm assuming maybe that's what the case is, because obviously Jeezy felt comfortable enough to give her this interview. And sidebar, Nia Long is really good at doing interviews. I was really, really surprised by that. You know, she's a great actress. I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised, because she has the personality for it. It seems like she can, I think a great interviewer is someone who listens and allows you to talk, but also allows you to be vulnerable and makes you comfortable to tell anything. And, you know, I haven't seen her interview anyone else. However, I think that based off of this, if this is her interview style, I think she would be really, really good, you know, doing something like this, or, you know, starting a YouTube where, you know, she sits down with different people in the industry, because I'm sure she has a lot of industry relationships, and just like lets them spill their guts. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really loved to see her in this role. So yeah, you know, the basis of this interview was them just kind of talking about their past, their loves, you know, talking about, I thought it was also interesting that, and I don't know if this was just Nia Long being modest, but she said, like, look, when old boy, the ex-head coach of the Celtics, acted a whole fool and humiliated her, she was like, look, I wasn't embarrassed, which I'm glad she said that. She was like, he was the one acting up. I wasn't embarrassed. But what she said was, I was surprised and taken aback by the fact that the Black community had my back. And we did. People fried him. And made sure to make sure she knew her worth, and that she was worthy and she didn't deserve this treatment. But she said she was surprised by that. And then Jeezy was kind of like, you're surprised? Like, you're like America's sweetheart. We love you. Like, we rock with you. And she was like, yeah, like, she said she's so into the art in her work that she was like, I just didn't know people like me like that. And so I thought that was interesting because I feel like Nia Long has been around. What is the first movie I remember her in? Was it Boys in the Hood? Maybe it was Boys in the Hood. Obviously, she was in Friday, and then Love Jones and all the things, right? But Boys in the Hood might have came out in 91, 92. I mean, that was 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. So she's been in the game for 30 years. We've never seen her do nothing scandalous. She's always been seemingly very down to earth, seemingly very, polished, cool, all of the things that you would aspire to be, and just likable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why she would be surprised by that. But again, I guess when you are the type of person that isn't arrogant, which is that's cool. So she definitely said that she was surprised by the amount of love that she got from everybody, and I'm just happy to hear her say that. Look, he ain't make me look crazy. I did what I was supposed to do. I was a loving partner, taking care of our children. I was supportive. He was the one that acted a fool, so I ain't got nothing to do with that. And she said that. She was like, everything that's happened this last year and a half, I feel comfortable with saying that I didn't have nothing to do with none of that. That was that man. So I think that was great and encouraging to hear, because a lot of times women, I've been cheated on. When we get cheated on, we blame ourselves and we internalize things, and we're like, dang, what's wrong with me? What is it that, she has that I don't have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Nia was like, no, I'm not about to do this. Whatever he did is something within himself that he needs to deal with, and it's not my fault. So I think that was a wise thing to say, that women, we should follow suit and also look at betrayal in the same way. So Nia, obviously, we're towards the end of the interview, and she's like, yeah, you haven't brought up your what's going on with you and your divorce and all of this, but I think it's important for us to touch on it. And I love the way she asked him, and she wasn't pushy, and he was just kind of like, well, I'm gonna keep it solid, and I love his answer was great. He was just basically like, I'm not gonna say anything that's going to be detrimental to the situation or embarrassing or whatever. I'm not gonna do that because it just wouldn't be right. He was like, but what I will say is this relationship is no longer serving me, and I just deciding to move on. And that's all we can ask for. I mean, Jeezy's very tight-lipped. He's got the street code. And I appreciate he's not being disrespectful to her. He kind of just made the announcement and was like, this is what I'm doing. And this is no longer serving me, so I'm going to keep it moving. And that is what he's doing. And that's what he said. And he was just like this, we're on different pages. Now, what I will say, I forget what exactly Nia Long asked him, but Nia Long was saying, look, we want leadership for men, and obviously from a man that can lead, and depending on where he's leading, yes, women are looking for leadership. And Jeezy quickly was like, are y'all? I kind of feel like that was a little bit of shade to Jeannie Mai, because the rumor is that she's like overbearing, she won't listen, like she wanted to, for lack of a better word, be the man of the relationship, which to me implies that she was not allowing Jeezy to be the leader in the relationship. So, deductive reasoning would lead me to believe that is probably part of the reason why he's leaving her. I would imagine, as a man who is very adamant about being the leader of the relationship, a woman who's not allowing him to take that role is probably tough. And, we've heard all kinds of rumors about what's going on with them, but he did say that when she was like, no, we want to be led. And he was like, y'all do? But I think that he said that because in his current situation, she's not allowing him to do that. So I thought that was interesting. But again, he wouldn't really go into super duper details about it, but he just was saying like he's not happy. And good for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, he also made the comment, y'all, where he said real men don't cheat. I want to know the dialogue that men gonna have about that. Men, what do you think? Do you think that all men cheat, or do you believe what Jeezy said? Because he said real men don't cheat. He was like, if you are a real man, mature, comfortable with who you are, and have integrity, that men don't cheat. Real ones. He said that. And so I commend him, because so many times I think men just stay in relationships where they're not happy, or where they want to step out and then they step out and they just stay. And he says, look, I'm not going to do that. Instead of doing that, if I'm unhappy and it's no longer serving me, I'm out of here. And I wish more men would do that. Obviously, for the woman, it's going to be hurtful, but I would rather you do that than just dog me out, embarrass me, and be cheating on me all over the place. So I thought that was cool that he said that. And then, you know, the interview ended with them giving each other praise and just talking about how much they appreciated it. Jeezy said some beautiful, you know, words just about how amazing Nia Long is. And I felt her in that moment. It's funny, I was watching her, you could see like the emotion. She cried and, you know, it touched her. But overall, I thought this was a great interview, guys. I thought that it was a great opportunity for us to get to know both of them better. And, you know, hopefully, like, I think their intention is to start a trend of allowing men to be vulnerable, because women, we got to do that. My friends and I were laughing this weekend, and we were saying, dang, you know, men can't do nothing. They can't eat a banana in public. They can't eat hot dogs in public. They can't eat a fruity drink. They can't do this. They can't do that. And so, women, we got to cut that out. When we start acting like that, yeah, they're not going to be vulnerable. You won't even let this man eat a popsicle. You know what I'm saying? It's funny to crack jokes, but in all sincerity, I really think this affects men. And so it was good to see them on Jeezy's part, to see him be able to open up and feel comfortable. And same thing for Nia Long. She said, like, you know, this is really great. And I think there was the comfortability there with him where he also allowed her to open up. So I love the interview. I would love to see more. And I hope Nia Long, you know, in addition to her acting, because we don't want her to stop acting, but I hope that she incorporates some of this into what she does as a public figure, because I loved it. So all right, let me know what you guys think. Did you see the interview? Did you like it? Did you not? You know, how do you feel about, you know, the dynamic of it? Did you think that him sitting with Nia Long was where he should have, you know, kind of revealed some of what he went through in his life? You know, let me know what y'all think. You know, drop down in the comments and tell me your thoughts, okay? Also, please, please, please don't forget to share this video, and then like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for all of your support, you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.